Well, howdy there, gang. Crunch. It's not a video from me if this chair in my game room doesn't squeak. It really isn't, is it? Well, what are we looking at? I'm trying to get squared away to play a little bit of this system that is called Century XXI. And it's from Poland. As you can tell, it's got Polish wording on it. Let's see if we can see. You can't see that because of the light, but whatever. Anyway, it's by Taktika Strategic, and it's I'm not going to be able to pronounce Mr. Zawalski's name. I think it's Wojciech, something like that. Regardless, the rules are interesting. The rules are interesting for a couple of different reasons, but they're interesting because it's a different attempt to try and capture modern combat. Now, I haven't had a look at the World War II themed titles, which they have many of. This is the 40th edition of this magazine. It comes out on a fairly regular basis. They have a whole bunch of boxed games. I've showed you this before, right? So there's lots of this stuff. The problem is the dude's Polish, right? So the language skills are a little bit challenging. But first of all, I don't know if there's a difference between World War II and this system here, this modern system. I believe there are some significant differences, just because it does deal with helicopters and beach landings and SAS and special forces and GROM and all that sort of stuff. So it does do that, but I think it may borrow heavily from the World War II rules, which I had a quick look at very briefly a little while back. All right, let me try to get back on point here. The rules are a little bit of a challenge. I'm having to go through here and mark these guys up pretty extensively for clarity. And I'm also summarizing, so this is not all errors. But I have managed to find 15 questions or so that I've had to post on the forum, and I'm kind of at a stopping point because there are some fundamentals here that are a little bit different. For instance, there's this idea of attack from the march, which is not really clearly explained. There's they use the concept of negating enemy zones of control, but that's not clearly explained as to whether that's costing more losses when you retreat when that happens, or it doesn't cost more losses when you retreat through an unnegated zone of control. So there's lots of little bits and pieces in here. The concept of counterattacking is interesting, but poorly worded. So what I thought I would do in the interim, and the reason why I bought this in the first place was because I wanted to try out this Mariupol title and look at the Ukraine versus Russia, right? Well, you've got a nice map and all that sort of stuff. I think I showed you this. I gotta make all the frickin' counters. Cut them out, glue them together, then cut them out again, right? And cut them into pieces. And it's just a level of hassle I'm not prepared to go to right now. These counters they're really thin, and they're also not cut well either. You're going to have to finish them off because it's literally some sort of laminated paper. So all that said, it sounds like it's pretty crappy, right? Well, it is kind of half-assed, but it's interesting, and so I'm going to persevere with it as much as I can and see how far I can go. The biggest challenge I'm having is, thank goodness this map has the word Basra on it, otherwise I wouldn't know what map to use, right? Here's a little hint here, there's a diagram here, but that's not what all the scenarios look like. Some of them have an actual geographical map of the area that you're dealing with. There's no map number here to reference. There are map numbers on the maps. Just down here it says 2 right there. And there are 4 maps total in the series, so it ain't that hard, and I think I have them all, but that's just a little bit of extra information would help. I don't know any of the colors of the units. I don't know which nationalities are which. Now, there are flags on the backs of some of these. Obviously, these are Soviets and these are German. I don't know what the red and white is. I guess they could be Ukrainian, I suppose. I found out that these were the Iraqis with this little circular doohickey here. So you got to find them, then find the formation, and then make sure you get all the units in the formation. And we're going to be tracking ammunition in this. Ammunition and also strength points as well. There's a strength points tally here. So there's quite a few moving parts to this. I'm going to pause the video right now because I want to take a little break and actually go eat some food. I want to come back. Let's have a look at the map and let's try and plan out what the advance is going to be for the British. I think we're coming in down here somewhere, and the Iraqis are defending, and there are VPs for capturing the. Ooh, sorry about that glare. Capturing the airfield here. What am I doing tonight? Capturing the airfield, capturing the city per se, getting units across the canal here. So it's an interesting scenario. Let's have a look at the routes of approach and all that sort of good stuff, and we'll kind of take it from there. I'll talk to you soon.